I was having a conversation with Eric Weinstein the other day where he's explaining to me the reality of other dimensions and the measurable reality of other dimensions, that we absolutely know that they exist. And do other beings have access to them? Can they travel through these things? Is that what we're dealing with? Imagine if that becomes at the forefront of the zeitgeist, if people recognize that not only are there other dimensions, multiple other dimensions that are recognizable, measurable, you know where they are, you know how to get to them, but beings are coming from those dimensions and visiting us on a regular basis. Are you still going to give a shit about a trans woman using the female bathroom? Are you still going to give a shit about whether or not someone has pink hair or blue hair, or who does this or who comes across what border? You're going to go, holy shit, there's a bigger thing going on. There's something that transcends all physical reality as we know it. It's beyond our imagination, and it is reality.
Yes, we are fetishizing, understandably, the only measurable part of our reality, while knowing even deeply personally for our own subjectivity that there's something else within us. There is our experience of rational thought, there's our experience of bodily sensation, but there's something else within us. I've been unable, of course, because of my recovery, to get into the sort of psychedelic space when it's, now that it's become wellness and now that it's become acceptable. I've not been able to entertain.
Can you explain that to me? Can you explain it to me? Because I'm not an addict, but I would like to know, what is it about a psychedelic experience that makes you think that if you engage, that you will somehow or another regress, lose all control, start doing heroin, your life is going to fall apart? You're clearly not the same person. You're clearly not the same person, even though you've experienced the same traumas that led you into heroin addiction in the first place. You have clearly gotten a certain control over your life, an understanding of yourself, a personal sovereignty that you didn't possess when you were an addict. So what makes you think that this entheogen, this literal psychedelic connection to a higher realm, would ruin your life?
Yeah, I know, because the thing is, I really, really want to. I'm like, when I was still using, I took psychedelics in the same way all kids take psychedelics.
For fun.
For fun, in a park, at a bus stop, and knowing that there's something ontologically profound happening. Like, most observably, and I'm talking about myself as a 16-year-old, like, hold on a minute, I'm not real. Like, I am not my memory of myself. I am not my projections. I am the consciousness that is observing that set of data. I'm observing my feelings, I'm observing my thoughts, I'm beyond it. So beyond like all that stuff, I was aware that this was profound, but also I was doing it on my own with like just kids drinking cider at a bus stop in Essex. I wasn't doing it like with a shaman or a doctor or Aldous Huxley or Terence McKenna or like some Brazilian guy with feathers and stuff. I was like at a bus stop in the rain, in the grimness of Grays where I'm from. So like I've maintained this fascination because I feel, well, I'm a 12-step person, and 12 steps is about that there's a spiritual deficiency that causes addicts to become addicts. They're looking for something that they can't find in the world. They're looking for connection. They're looking for a deeper purpose and for meaning.
So they're also looking for escape.
Right. This is
escape from the anxiety of being alive. Just the existential angst that most people carry around with them. Yeah,
it's unlivable with. But like as you say, most people carry around with them. Like we all have that. So that's
we all have a certain level of it.
Yeah, and for some reason, the addict type, according to this analysis, and there's only one analysis, and it's the one that I've got clean with, so it's the one I sort of advocate for. It's the only one I'm qualified to advocate for. The principle is, if you replicate, or not even replicate, if you create those spiritual conditions, like you belong to a community, you think about helping others, you're willing to look at what the reasons you drink and take drugs for in the first place, but fundamentally, this is the key thing, is what it argues most of all, and it's like an ingenious piece of American theology, really, I would say, the 12 steps, because it was informed by William James, the theologian. It's influenced by Carl Jung, of course, and so it's a sort of a fusion of religious and spiritual ideas, doctors and psychiatry, which obviously was in a much more formative state back then. And what's fundamentally offering you is the drugs and the alcohol are not the problem. The problem is you are self-centered and egoic. You've got caught in yourself. And so like, even once you stop drinking and taking drugs, you're still going to have that problem, and you're going to have to address that problem. And when you do, you won't feel the need to drink or take drugs anymore. Now, so what becomes sort of central to the whole ideology of the 12 steps is, in a sense, the abstinence is significant and it's pivotal. You can't drink or take drugs one day at a time. But more important than that is you've surrendered. You're not in charge of your life anymore.
Right. You've given the ego a break.
Yeah, like it's like I can't run on that.
You know the story of Alcoholics Anonymous, though, and Bill W., the fact that he was into LSD.
Yes, I'm aware of that because I'm sort of an amateur historian of it, because it's an important sort of part of my wellness.
It seems like a contradiction.
That dude was out there. I mean, like, he's a prophet. Like, the guy was a stockbroker, apparently a womanizer, and yes, indeed, took LSD while in recovery. And, of course, all of the materials around that fellowship are they're like 50, 60 years old. No one had 10 years clean then. No one had 20 years. I'm 20 years clean and sober. No one had that. None of those guys, there hadn't been that much time, which makes you think about vaccine tests. How do they know what it's going to do in 10 years if you hadn't had fucking 10 years? Like, so, like, you know, they didn't know how those things were going to pan out. So the reason I have this ayahuasca hesitancy, a lot of people are ayahuasca hesitant. What are we going to do about that hesitancy? Like the reason I have it is because I can't take back personal authority for what I do. And the idea is because I've been given something that's quite delicate. Like when I was using, I was destroying my life, and now I've been granted a different perspective. I shouldn't mess with that shit by doing something that would necessarily involve I'm in charge, even though I really want to. When I hear you and other people on your show and Duncan Trotter talk about smoking DMT and you're meeting orbs of pure consciousness, I think the whole reason I became a drug addict, remember, was because I was looking for that. I'm looking for this. This isn't reality. This can't be it. You can't expect me to just stay alive for decades more based on this bullshit. I know there's something else. The culture won't give you it. The culture won't give you are divine. You are connected to limitless. And there are other dimensions. There are other beings. The culture's just telling you, get a job. You're going to work in a call center or a factory. That's what, and you are craving the mystic. You're craving it.
But you know you're not the same guy you were when you were an addict, right? You're a different, much more mature, much more experienced person. You know the old expression, no man can ever step into a river twice, because you're not the same man, that's not the same river.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do that. I just worry I would get in that river and I would try to drink it. Or fuck it.
Why do you think you would do that? Don't you think you've learned? This is what I don't understand. And again, like, you know, I enjoy marijuana and I've enjoyed psychedelics, but I can not have anything for long periods of time and I'm fine.
Because you ain't an addict, huh?